Welcome, everybody, to the Advanced Selling Podcast, the longest-running sales training podcast in podcast history. My name is Bryan, Neale.
I'm Bill Caskey.
We're here every week. We're glad you're here. We're moving into the holiday season. 'Tis the season, and it's birthday week for Big Daddy Neale.
Oh, yeah.
It's birthday
Happy
week.
birthday.
They're all, it's 51. Back
How
9.
big?
51. 5-1. Coming up
Yep.
on Friday. So got a good little, I took the day off. Free day.
You always
Plan
take
my
your
own free
birthday
day.
off?
I try to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Try to.
Now, you take Friday. You take the free day off once a week anyway, don't you?
No, I've been really bad.
Oh, okay.
That's my biggest initiative for 2021 is to get back onto the free day thing.
One day, yeah.
It's been bad.
Well, you got
Been
one
running too
coming
hard.
up. It's your birthday.
Birthday,
so you
yeah,
can start.
thanks.
Get some momentum, man.
Yep. Glad that you are here. We're here every week. Hey, spread the word. This is a good, we love our audience. We have a really, really good active tribe on LinkedIn, in our LinkedIn group, and we'd love for you to share the word. So if you're heading into 2021 and you want to give some good karma, spread some good karma, just share the Advanced Selling Podcast with your LinkedIn tribe. All you got to do is take an episode and post it up in your LinkedIn feed and tell all your connections that, hey, if you're in sales, you should probably check out this show because it's moderately entertaining and somewhat helpful.
And the Advanced Selling Podcast group is back up now.
Oh, yeah.
It was off for a couple
Yes.
weeks. I don't know if we ever talked about that.
Not
or
on air, we
Okay.
didn't. No, we didn't.
I got put in LinkedIn jail for a period of time.
Yep.
And because my name was attached to the Advanced Selling Podcast group, it also was in jail. You weren't in jail.
No.
But it was. Anyway, we're back up now, and LinkedIn and I have made amends, and we're good.
It's good. I like it. Amends is a good thing.
Yeah, you don't really make amends with
Not
LinkedIn.
with LinkedIn. They sort of
Yeah.
decide.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
I will say they're getting a little more strict.
They are very
about
strict. Yeah.
If you're listening to this and you're doing like spammy sort of things,
Yeah.
doing lots of
Be
cold
careful.
outreach
Be careful.
and automation, I would be very careful because Bill's a giver to LinkedIn, massive contributor, very pure user. And in somewhere along the way, the algorithm got sideways and shut you off for a little bit. It's really bad.
They told me that they thought I was using software, which
Yeah.
I don't.
You just-
I've been approached by software companies, the whole spam.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it when it's done to me, so I
No.
don't do it. But they kind of thought I was doing something fishy, and I wasn't. But it's hard to get back on.
Well,
It's hard
you're fighting
'cause
against LinkedIn
who are you
and
gonna,
the algorithm.
You can't talk to anybody.
No, and it's an algorithm. I love when people say that like it's a.
I know,
this thing.
like they understand
Well,
what it is.
Well, now what we believe the algorithm is doing.
Exactly.
Now, if we take a look at the algorithm,
Hey, I've got a question for you, Bryan. You're Catholic, right?
I am
Still.
Now, and, now
Once
you said
you're
earlier,
Catholic, you really
you
don't.
said something that always trips me up. You said, "I want to ask you something as a Catholic," like it's a noun. Like
it's a
you're-
Catholic.
What like people say that though they label you as a Catholic
Oh, okay.
versus being Catholic, like you're Christian versus you are a Christian.
Okay.
See that? But you're a Catholic means that. What does that mean? Does that mean you're not a Christian, or does that mean you're something else? It's an interesting idea. It's like a
Well,
label.
that's not
though.
where I was going to go with this.
It's okay,
but-
but like, my mother-in-law, she's like, well, the Catholics, like there's a noun.
Oh, there's
see what I
a-
mean?
yeah.
Those Catholics over there, which is fine.
Yeah.
We only started the whole thing, but go ahead.
Well, I was thought of you the other day.
Oh,
I was up in Carmel, I was
Yeah.
driving along, and I was coming to a roundabout, which in Carmel, you're always either coming to or leaving a
Yeah,
roundabout.
Carmel, Indiana is one of the largest collection of roundabouts in the country, I think.
150.
Yeah.
And I was behind a student driver. Of course, they had the little sign on the top.
Yep.
And they had a bumper sticker
Okay.
that said, "I'm a Catholic student driver."
Oh.
And so I want to know from you if I'm behind someone who proclaims they're a
Yes.
Catholic student driver, and it's, what kind of other extra precautions should I take?
Well, that's a really great
I mean,
question,
versus
Bill.
the
So now-
traditional student
That's
driver.
really good. I have not seen one of those bumper stickers. I should get one. I've got a son who's going to get his permit here next week.
I'm sure you'll have
He's
one.
a Catholic student driver. So the things that I think would be interesting, one is they're capable, if you cut them off or something, they can flip you off and cuss at you and then go get it cleared up at
And be
confession on
cleaned up,
Saturday.
yeah.
Saturday 4 to 4:30.
So
they'll go see Father Miguel, and everything's all good, all clean. That's a thing.
So they're not unnerved by flipping
No.
you off in the car.
No,
Okay,
I don't
well, that's
think so.
good.
They might have a rosary hanging from their
I didn't see one
whatchamdoodle
because I
there.
looked for that. I
Rearview
looked
mirror.
for some
That could
other
be a thing.
signal.
Yes.
Because I've not seen, I'm a Jewish student driver, I'm a Muslim student driver,
exactly.
I'm a
I'm a
Christian
Catholic.
student driver.
That's true.
I haven't seen those,
I
so
wonder what
I
the
just
point
wonder
is.
if there was something
Yes.
special.
I don't know. That's a really good question.
But I think your answer about getting flipped off and the anger with which they can approach
go clean
you,
it up
they go clean up
and
really
confession.
quickly.
The other thing they might do now, probably not for a student driver, but if their parents are with them, if they drive by an Irish pub, they might cross 2 lanes of traffic to get to the beer on Friday afternoon.
That's true.
That would be my guess. That's really funny. I've never seen that. I'll have to get one for Billy.
You need to get one for
Billy Neale. All right.
So topic today, I have a new client who is primarily their project managers and project engineers are the ones that go out and generate business, and they're not naturally good at that. And so they kind of let business come to them. They've been around in their market long enough that good business comes, but they need to be more proactive. And so part of our engagement with them is to go in and help them, their project team, their project managers, all what I would call the non-sales people, non-sellers, to do more outreach. Not cold calls, but do more content, maybe make some phone calls to make sure projects are going the way they want them to. Just a lot of different things that the non-seller can be doing. And I thought it might be a decent topic today, not only because I don't know how many non-sellers we have that listen to the podcast. I know we have a lot of salespeople who have non-salespeople inside their organizations that matter.
Yes.
And that if you can help them become more reachable, less obscure, more visible, then perhaps your pockets will be lined as well. Now, it'll be good for you too, because people will be coming and project manager will turn over a lead to you and say, hey, I just reached out to this person. They call back. They've got a project. You want to take it? You want me to? Depending upon how your organization works.
Yes. This is, to me, a fantastic topic, and one that's getting more and more attention than it's ever gotten for a couple reasons, in my opinion. One, I think leadership in companies, whether it's the owner or the CEO or the chief revenue officer, what have you, are realizing that everyone that interacts with a customer is part of the selling process, both in closing, retention, and then also, though, in upselling and expanding and that sort of thing. And when you think about the in this case, if it's take a software company, for example, or an engineering company, the engineers are the ones that are the product that really decide whether or not we expand the contract, extend it, all those sorts of things. And we've never given attention to those people. We've never trained them. We've never coached them. They didn't go to school for that, like you said. And they tend to stereotypically, broad stereotype here, they have a different slant in terms of communication style, their persona, that sort of thing. And they have something in their minds about what sales does that they don't like, which I think is a really important thing here. But if you're a company, any company, I think you're crazy to not provide your non-sellers with a sales philosophy and an approach and a framework.
That's right.
Going into the future. It's a huge miss if you're not opening your eyes to this idea.
And if you do decide to train or coach or whatever word you want to put around it, and don't spend time on the mental and that part. Were you trying to get me to do something?
No. No, I was just massively agreeing. No, I'm just trying to sit up straight. I'm working on my posture.
Okay.
Can you tell?
Well, I'm out of the corner of my visually impaired eye, I thought you were motioning for me like, no, don't go there.
No, I do that. Now that I know that it's a bad eye, I kind of mess with you. You can't see this.
We should be switched. We should be switched.
Stay on your good eyesight.
But no, if you're looking to train or coach your people, your non-sales people, make sure you spend a lot of time on the mental aspect.
Yes.
Because if you don't get that right, then you're going to always be pushing a rope uphill, trying to figure out a way to. You like that?
Pushing a rope uphill. I like that.
Yeah. With your nose.
That's
uphill.
right.
Serpentine on the ground.
Yes.
But you got to get the mind right for non-salespeople, or they won't be able to execute the tactics. So what I thought we could do today is maybe we pick 2 or 3 things that project managers, project engineers, non-salespeople can be doing alongside and in congruence with the salesperson, so that you as a sales professional can send this podcast out to your team. Maybe you have a project manager lead, and they can pick some ideas up.
And I would, salespeople, before you go, oh, this episode's not for me, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Every episode's for you for 2 reasons. 1, there's probably some things we're going to talk about that you're not doing either, and you're the salesperson. 2, if your account management, project engineers, system, your doers are well trained, you'll win also. So you need to be a huge supporter of this initiative to coach and train your non-sellers on how to be better in front of the customer and that sort of stuff. So, All right, you want to?
Yeah, I just pulled the microphone over, and as I did so, I had a very bad feeling. Like do you remember at the end of last, like a couple episodes ago?
Oh yeah,
The microphone.
that was the.
If you're interested in
is
seeing that, it's on YouTube.
Monday, the release from Monday, November 23rd.
Yeah.
Right, Travi?
Yeah.
Watch the
Fast
YouTube
forward
version
to
of that.
Yeah, very last
And
part.
just watch all the way through to the end, and you'll see in the studio here. I'm getting a new sign to put behind us. Is you break it, you buy it.
Yeah.
We need a you break it, you buy it sign.
Unfortunately, it
Got to
didn't
go watch
break,
that.
but- okay.
Okay. Want to go first?
So so here's one thing that and I'm looking at this like, okay, what can I be doing? This is really very tactical, but I think that's where we need to start. And we can start with the mindset, but that's going to be up to you. So one thing you can do with your non-sellers is come up with a list of questions that your prospect might have for the. So if it's a project manager that's in question here, what kinds of questions would the customer have for the project manager? Maybe as you start to do the work, maybe as the work is half finished, maybe at the end of the job, there's questions that prospect or clients have. I would come up with a list of those questions and then record or produce or write. It doesn't have to be a podcast or video. It could be just a written element, written article about here's a type of question that I get at this point in the process. And allow your project manager to answer that question. It could be just a paragraph, something really simple. But we want to, I was listening to, was it Gary Vaynerchuk or somebody the other day who's a real leader in content marketing? Oh, I know who it was. Upreneur Drucker, do you know him? He's a British guy.
No.
He's either Australian or British. Have trouble.
Oh,
He's
you're
right
gonna
in
get in trouble
between.
with that
I
one.
know.
Uh-oh. All the Aussies are so pissed right now.
That's true.
So
But
mad.
he said the best kind of content is if you're answering a question that's in the mind of the prospect and they don't know how to ask it. So it's not always the most common questions. It's the questions that I have about a product that I don't know how to ask. If you can put those questions into the market and then answer them, people will say, man, I was thinking that very thing. I was thinking that very question. So that's one example of something your project managers can do. Just make a list of some questions that they get and help them answer them and produce them, promote them, write about them.
I like the idea, too, of that, of documenting the work. Because one thing when you're talking about delivery, and Bill's using the word project manager because that's this engagement, but it could be an engineering team, it could be account managers, it could be client success people. You document work, though. People see what goes on behind the scenes. It's very popular right now, especially on like silly apps like TikTok, which I really like. But, it's like they document the day. So like I follow a TikToker who's a corporate pilot. He's like, here's a day in the life of the corporate pilot. Here's a day in the life of a project manager at this company. Here's what I do. Boom, I come here. And you could do a 1-minute little video.
I like that.
Right? And you're just saying, here's what I do. I log in. Then here's me writing the code. And then here's what the software did before. Here's the QA test. I hit enter, and the light is green. We're all good. And you see, like, dang, that's really cool.
Yeah. Here's me listening to the Advanced Selling Podcast.
Here's me. Someone should do that with a pipe. Should get a pipe. You listening to the Advanced Selling Podcast. I'm going to go
line of pipes.
to the mindset, and slightly differently though. I want to make sure that if you're a salesperson, you forward this to your project management account people, that they need to filter out their perceptions of what a salesperson is and what they do, because there's a massive gap, I think, between these non-sellers and what true sales is today in almost 2021. It's not what they think. They think it's still aggressive and cheesy and persuading, and we all know it's not that way anymore. We know there are a few leftovers that are still doing it the old way, but for the most part, our industry, our function has elevated itself. But most of the people that don't sell don't know that.
They're still locked into the old
think
mentality.
their mentality is like, I have to be that way, and I don't want to be that way.
Agree.
And so the first thing is just releasing that. And what's interesting about PMs and people like that, they like to study and learn things. So have them study and learn a little bit. Like, you know what? Sales isn't what I thought it was. It can actually be really different. Listening to the Advanced Selling Podcast, reading, watching YouTube videos, whatever. So examine that and recognize that if you lean on the concept that Bill and I talk about with it, which is good intention, every PM, AM, and everyone, they will love that concept because they are naturally true helpers.
Yeah.
That's what they do for a living. And if you say all selling is helping, that's all it is. It's really all it is. That's the energy. That's why we do it.
Yeah.
And that we help people by going and interacting with them and walking down the hall to say, can I help you? Is there something,
That's a great point. I think every person listening to this should go teach that concept to somebody inside their company who's a non-seller today.
Oh, that's good.
Before you do anything else, call us at
Freeze. It's good.
Or is that a callback from? Do you remember? Before you do anything else, go to
Stamps.com.
All right. Stamps.com. It was not a sponsor anymore. We didn't sell enough stamps.
Stamps.com.
But go, because I think what you just said is people who are not in sales carry around this philosophy of what selling is, and it's a burden. And when someone says to that person, "Hey, I need you to get more active into sales," it's like a, what's it called when in the Bible used to talk about the yoke? Is the yoke?
The yoke.
Is
That's
what you pull the oxen.
Yeah, the oxen.
So it's like a
goes around the
yoke
neck.
or
Yeah.
a burden that you have, that if you don't release that burden through understanding what sales really is, it becomes hard to do anything, as we talked before.
Yes.
So salespeople, if you're hearing this and you've got somebody inside your company and you say, God, they're so good in front of customers, they probably have that burden on them.
Yes.
Go release it.
Good.
And tap them on the head and get a little wand and say, you are free now.
Now, in Catholicism, we have the right of exorcism. So we could take it that way and go back to that, right?
Part of the con thing.
I was seeing some that's our TikTok trend that I see.
We'll do a whole
exorcism.
podcast episode on that.
It's a right. It's a thing. It's a real thing. It was really good. You got another one there?
I got one more. I have one more. I got one more. The project managers, non-sellers, all have stories. You have stories of people who worked with you. You have stories of people who didn't work with you. You have stories of things that went well on a project, things that didn't. I think you've got an inventory of stories that you can start telling. People love stories. Have you heard of, you know who Matthew McConaughey is? We need to get him for the podcast. He's on virtually every podcast. He's everywhere. We need to get him. But he's a great storyteller. Yeah. His book, which I recommend, is called Green Lights or Red Lights to Green Lights or something. Anyway, I've always liked him, not just in the acting role, but just as a human, because he seems like he's a deep thinker, and he is.
Yeah.
But he's a great storyteller. And he's got, whenever the interviewer asks him a question, he doesn't lecture. He says, oh, that reminds me of when I was 12 years old and my dad did this. Project managers and non-sellers, you have stories.
Yep.
Bring those stories out. So you got questions earlier. What are the questions that you get? But stories are those experiences that you've had. Don't be shy and bashful about sharing those. You don't have to reveal any names. You can keep people anonymous, but tell stories. People love to hear stories, and you have interesting stories because the stories you have, everybody can relate to, because everybody's been in projects that fail, that have roadblocks, that succeed wildly. We all can relate to that.
For sure. And they're so directly tied to the business that you're doing. Like, it's what you're doing. So it's like, it's so right there. It's really, really great. You got to do that. Last thing for me is don't put pressure on yourself to do this alone. I think when you're learning this and you're easing in, so you've been exercised of your old thoughts about selling, and you're a non-seller, you still have to wade into the water. You have to go slow. So I think the best way to do that is to do it in a small group, meaning maybe a couple project managers work together to go down the hall and have a conversation versus solo, because the solo people get scared to death, right? If two of them go, it's less scary. We can kind of hold on to each other, like Laverne and Shirley.
So the two non-sellers go to...
if they're going to prospect another division, let's say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's say they're working in, one division of a customer. Yeah. And so have the two of them go instead of one, or go with a normal seller. And just tag along with the seller and go to learn and get more comfortable before you just like walk down the hall on your own.
That's
See
good.
what I mean?
That's good.
Team sell it.
Yeah,
it's good.
All right. Good job today.
Yeah, it's really nice.
If you have not joined our LinkedIn group, go to advancedsellingpodcast.com/LinkedIn, and that'll take you directly there. Make sure you join us. We're going to be doing some more on LinkedIn next year, and we're also crafting some training. You don't know it yet, Bryan, but we're crafting some training opportunities for your team for next year. We did a little bit of that later in the fall. We did some goal-setting work with some people. Do we have any time left on that? This is going to be released.
No.
Okay.
No,
Sorry.
we're full.
We're done on that.
All done.
All right, so go to advancedsellingpodcast.com. If you're a new listener, there's a recap there of the top episodes. So if you just joined us and you just found us, make sure you go to advancedsellingpodcast.com, check for new listeners, and we'll see you next time.
See you. Bye.